For years, I had lived quietly in my house without serious problems with the HOA. I paid my dues, maintained the property, kept the lawn trimmed, and followed the community rules. Then a new board took control and announced what they called a neighborhood modernization initiative. At first, I didn't think much about it. Then the violation letters started arriving. One homeowner was told his fence was too tall. Another was told his driveway color was wrong. Someone else was fined for having a basketball hoop. Then I received a letter about my front porch. The HOA claimed my porch violated a restriction prohibiting certain exterior modifications. I had owned the house for years. The porch had been there before the current board was elected. I asked them what rule I had violated. They cited a section of the HOA handbook. I opened my original covenant documents. The rule wasn't there. I called the HOA. They told me the rule had always existed. I asked for the recorded amendment. They said they would send it. They didn't. I asked again. They sent the same handbook. My attorney immediately noticed the problem. The handbook was not the recorded declaration of covenants. It was an internal HOA document. He told me to request every amendment filed with the county. We did. The county records contained the original declaration and several amendments. But the porch restriction wasn't among them. The HOA had created a rule internally and was treating it as though it were a recorded property restriction. When I confronted the board president, she became angry. She told me homeowners couldn't pick and choose which rules they wanted to follow. I told her I wasn't refusing to follow the rules. I was asking them to show me the rule. She said the HOA's attorney had reviewed it. My attorney contacted their attorney. We asked for the legal basis. The response was vague. Then the HOA fined me. I refused to pay. They increased the fine. I refused again. Eventually, they threatened to place a lien on my property. That was when we went to court. The HOA argued that it had broad authority to maintain community appearance. My attorney agreed that the HOA had enforcement authority where the governing documents actually granted it. But he pointed out that the specific restriction did not appear in the recorded covenants. The judge requested certified copies. The HOA submitted its handbook. The judge asked for the recorded amendment. There wasn't one. The board's attorney tried to argue that the rule had been adopted properly under the HOA's internal procedures. The judge asked whether it had been recorded against the properties. Again, no. The judge explained that an internal policy wasn't automatically the same thing as a recorded property covenant. The HOA's case began falling apart. Then other homeowners started looking at their notices. They found the same issue. Some of the rules being enforced were nowhere in the recorded documents. The board had effectively created a second set of rules. At the next HOA meeting, homeowners arrived carrying folders. One homeowner held his deed. Another had the original covenants. Someone else had a certified county record. The board president tried to control the meeting, but the questions kept coming. Where is this rule recorded? Who approved this amendment? When was it filed? Why are homeowners being fined under language that doesn't appear in the declaration? Eventually, the board agreed to suspend several enforcement actions. My fine was cancelled, the threatened lien disappeared, and my porch remained exactly where it had been. The entire conflict started over a porch. But it became a lesson about something much bigger. Rules governing property aren't supposed to exist simply because someone prints them in a handbook. They have to come from somewhere. And when you go back to the original documents, sometimes the rule that everyone has been afraid of turns out not to exist at all.